We're always happy to be here with you on the League of the Genuine show every Friday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is the only show on the planet that addresses the dangers, the concerns that we have about the products and services that we consume that are vast on the market, counterfeit, substandard, fake, name it. This is where we discuss it. Every month, like we told you, we have a guest of the week, somebody from out there in the public, either in a position of leadership or somebody who is just a consumer, coming to tell us their experience about counterfeits. And today we have a special guest who has had an intimate relationship, a fight with counterfeits in various ways. I'll be introducing him very, very soon. But we would like to remind each of you that we appreciate your support. We appreciate subscribing to this channel. We appreciate liking it. We appreciate sharing it. You can watch us on our anti-counterfeit channel on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. We really cannot exist without your involvement because this is your show. This is a show for consumers, which we all are. Today, we have somebody a little bit from the political arena, political because he has been or is still a president of a district. They call them presidents or LC5. Yes, we have in the studio none other than Mr. George William Mutabazi, outgoing chairman, Luengo District, former chairman of the Uganda Local Governments Association, and I'm sure he will tell us other chairmanships he holds, including chairman of your home. George, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, George is a very outspoken gentleman. He happens to be outgoing chairman for one of the smallest districts, George. You have less than 250,000 people that you're a chairman for, and yet you exude a lot of influence beyond the borders of Luengo, maybe even beyond the borders of the country. How is that?
Thank you, Fred. My name is George Mutabazi, like you've mentioned, and I've been a chairman for the last 10 years.
LC5 chairman.
Yes, LC5 chairperson. And to be specific to your question, it's about leadership skills that make you who you are. It's not about you being a chairperson or a governor, as people say. It's about the leadership skills that one possesses that have actually made me who I am. First of all, not every leader is a leader. We have a very big challenge that we have people who call themselves leaders, but they are participants, they are not leaders.
So what do you call them? Fake leaders?
Fake, not counterfeits, but leaders in
Yes.
this case. And that's the big challenge that we have, especially with the local government. When you go to local government, the moment you mention local, it's local. That's a big challenge down there because the people vote people who are like them. The moment you vote somebody who is like you, then first of all, you're not going to develop your area. But people want to vote people who associate with them, who drink with them, who eat with them. So they end up voting local people. And hence the word local. You are local down there. And that's why I'm probably leaving.
Oh, that's why you're leaving. But
Yes.
maybe it is just as well, because there has been a lot of stick that you have taken as LC5 chairman Luengo. At one time, I have seen the Observer wrote here, on January 18th, 2015, there was a screaming headline there. From London to caning Luengo peasants. Was that
True.
a fair
Yeah, it was.
assessment of Mutabazi?
Unfortunately, the press only looks at the negativity part of it. But why would someone come from London to come and start caning people if you're not insane?
Did you cane them?
I did, and I have no remorse over that. One, when you have traveled and experienced different parts of the world and seen how people behave and how other developed countries and developing countries people live. When you get here, you get perturbed, you get concerned. I came in here and I left my job. I had a good job. I was earning £3,000. I mean, 30,000 pounds per annum, and I end up here earning peanuts. An LC5 chairperson earns 1.5 million per month. How much is that? You get here to serve the people. You get here to change the community. And indeed, I tried my best, and I'm proud of that.
So, but because you are earning a low pay, the people have to be suffer to be caned
not really.
Because of the low pay?
I was actually more of a volunteer, and as a result, you end up getting more pissed. You end up developing more anger and more stress. So, why did I get up the cane? I got the cane because I wanted to take people where they don't want to go. And you can't do that by, massaging people. So I had to get the cane out.
These guys you caned, what had they done?
Now, let me give you an example, because when you talk about the cane, you need to know what the cane came out with. When I got to Ruwengo, I found people with a toilet coverage of 47%. We got to start doing what is called Burungi Bwansi. We said every household must have a toilet, every household must have a katandaro, every household must have a pit for rubbish. And, people thought I was joking. And I said, every LC1 chairperson must make accountability of the number of people you have in the village, in a book, and must make sure that everybody has got mention the stuff I've told. So we started pushing people, and the moment I would run on you and you don't have a toilet, the next step would be Chiboko. And by now, as I am leaving, we have 87% of toilet coverage. And that has a very big effect, to an extent that we used to have 80 patients per day at Health Center 3. Now we have less than 40 patients per day at Health Center 4. Public funds reduced, stress on workers, and the health status of the people is far much better because of that toilet coverage increase.
Mr. Mutabazi is saying the canes in Ruwengo have helped improve the public health of his people and the coverage of toilet, and I'm sure less contamination of water sources and therefore less dysentery and so on. Okay, that is something we need to think seriously about, something to do with attitude. Mutabazi, we have just this week lost a dear leader, the Tanzanian President John Pombe Magufuli. Everybody's weeping. Tanzanians are beside themselves in sorrow. At a personal level, do you see a Magufuli in you? And will you miss him?
First of all, it is very sad that we lost a character like Magufuli. To me, in this century, the actual two presidents, Magufuli and Mandela. And to African communities, you who are watching, it is not the Tanzanians that lost Magufuli. It is the African nation, African community, African culture, African tradition. We lost a man that we shall not get soon or later. When somebody comes out and talks with a heart for his people, Magufuli was unique because, when you find somebody defending his nation, fighting corruption that people talk about. This man, when I got in here, the first 1 year I got into politics, I went into a conference at hotel in, I think, Imperial Royal, and there were 3 conferences. One was from the Ministry of Education, another one was from the Ministry of Health, and another one was from the Ministry of Finance. And all these 3 had invited district chairpersons, district cows, and DEOs and DHOs. Same people in the 3 conferences.
The same hotel,
same
city.
And people were getting allowances from one floor to another floor to the other floor. And I found that in Uganda. And I called the PS, Mr. Keith Makana. I said, what is this? He said, could that be? So I said, dude, what I'm seeing, I'm getting $1 million because they were giving an allowance for the chairperson, and then for the cow, and then for the DHO, and then for the DO, and then for the drivers and the bodyguards. I said, Uganda is rotting. And this is what Magufuli has been fighting for. When he says, you don't have to travel to go to a conference. 10 people. I have been in Morocco with 20 Ugandans in a conference.
Doing what? What did you bring for us?
Exactly. What did we bring? We brought allowances for ourselves. We brought, we were in best hotels. And this is what we must stop. When you leave, I'll give you an example. When I was a president, local government, we were one time sponsored by South African government to go 10 MPs, I think 5 LC5 chairpersons, plus other technical people. We at the airport, because people got their allowances, because people have got everything, you get the airport and you only 2 people. You are probably some technical person. You get to Johannesburg airport. There are 2 vehicles waiting to pick you up. And there are only 2 people. The other 2 people come the next day. Then, in the conference, you are 4 people. By the 3rd day, the first 2 people come back to you. Ugandans are not serious.
So they have taken the money.
They are not attending. The per diem, they are not attending. The people there are waiting for you. And you call yourselves honorable. You are horrible, actually.
But Mutabazi, now that we have lost Magufuli, we have somebody who was results-oriented like you and so on, and then you're abandoning the ship, you're leaving the politics and going. Don't you think you are betraying your country? Can't you serve at a higher level?
The more you are in politics in Uganda, when you are doing the things the way I've been doing it, the Magufuli way, the more enemies you create, the more you end up stepping on so many people's toes. Therefore, it is easier and better to quit politics and you keep aside. Out of 100 politicians we have in Uganda, 90 are thieves.
Oh.
I want to repeat it. Out of 100 politicians we have, 90 are thieves. It's only 10, and those 10 are being haunted by the 90s. You've heard about the mafia groups. Look at what is happening. We are talking about counterfeits in this country. Who brings them in? What is happening?
Politicians.
It's the politicians.
But now you see, you're saying 10 are left out of 100. Now they are 9 because you are leaving.
Yeah, because I have lost it. When I went into local government, I wanted to change. And you know what? When you're in local government, you are a district councillor, a district chairperson. You have a team of councillors, about 25. You have P0 graduates. P0 graduates.
Not P1.
No, P0.
There is a class called P0.
Because if you have never gone to school, which class is
So
that?
you had councillors who
have totally never gone to school, but they have voted to represent the sub-county. But listen to this scenario. A sub-county is headed by a sub-county chief who is a graduate. You must be a graduate to head a sub-county. You are being supervised by a councillor who is a P0 graduate. When you are talking about budget, a budget is done in English, the Local Government Act is in English, the Uganda Constitution is in English, the council
regulations are in English.
The regulations are in English, the council meetings are held in English,
the budget is in English, the figures are in English.
You are talking about bills of quantities. And the bills of quantities to put up, to construct a school, the sub-county chief must know, look at the bills of quantities and say, there should be 10 bags of cement per, whatever we are going to construct. And the sub-county councillor who is supervising has no clue about what is happening in terms of bills of quantities. So this is the whole problem.
The idea of decentralization, devolving power to the grassroots. You've been part of government. The idea was bring the services
nearer to the people,
closer to the people.
Yeah.
But since decentralization in the 90s, we have had an increase in the incidence of counterfeiting. So can we blame the local governments, leaderships?
Sure. First of all, decentralization is a very, very good concept, a wonderful one. It is meant to take services nearer to the people, true. Now the problem comes when the people vote Fred Muwema, who is a fake, who is a counterfeit himself. We were cut off from Masaka district. Nobody knew about Muwema. We have a district headquarters as we talk now. And the Masaka where we were carved, it has nothing. I had never got money from a government. I got money from embassies. I've been outsourcing, mobilizing, robbing. It is about the leader that you elect, that you have to lead a certain sub-county, certain local government, a certain district that takes your area from here to where it should be. It's not decentralization. Decentralization goes hand in hand with the good leader
and the implementation.
The implementation. In Kenya, people are fighting to come out of parliament to join local government. Here, people are fighting to come out of local government to go to parliament because of the pay. A member of parliament roughly gets 30 million roughly per month, and an LC5 person gets 1.5. And I have 4 members of parliament. It's illogical to be an LC5 chairperson. But then the issue of counterfeits, counterfeits are here because we lack leadership. One, we don't have leaders who are focused and informed, who come out to ably talk about these counterfeits. Two, our people are not informed. Our people are not sensitized on the side effects of these counterfeits. Fred, as we talk now, our maize had reached up a tune of about 700 per kilo. It's now 450 in the villages. Kenya has stopped and we are still struggling. You have had
parliament. They have put conditions.
You've had all the noise that has been going on. Aflatoxin levels. I have happened to be part of a company called Grain Plus. They were measuring from Masaka to Mpiji. We managed to come testing. You know, we would go in and buy some kaunga and we would test, we would brought it to the laboratories from Masaka to here. And we found that the aflatoxin levels were 40% in our kaunga, maize meal. Now, maize flour.
What is the normal percentage?
The normal percentage should be less than 10, if it is worse. But ours is 40%.
40%.
Now, what does that mean?
Is that fit even for the
pigs? It's not even fit for any animal. Now, who eats kaunga first of all? Our children in boarding schools, and these are people aged between 10 to 20 to 18. I mean, from primary, secondary to university. That is the generation that we have.
Pregnant mothers who are breastfeeding, they take porridge.
Now, what does that mean? That means that Uganda is going to have, in 5 years' time to come, we are going to have more cancer patients than any other sickness. Cancer is going to be at least more than 50% on an increase because of aflatoxin levels. You are talking about Kenya refusing your maize, but your maize is your main enemy. You are the main enemy to her. Now, what is the problem? When I grew up, and this is why I got the chiboko. When I grew up, when you grow up maize is on a cob. You don't remove the maize until the maize is 100% dry. Then it bends.
Yes.
When it bends, when it rains, the rain just passes on. The maize remains in the garden until it is 100% dry. That's when you remove it. But what is happening today? You remove the maize before it is dry, when it is still this. And when you remove it, you dry it on the soil. When you dry it on the soil, it contaminates the soil with the soil. When you remove from the cob, the maize, the seedling, the grain gets more contaminated. And now when you put it when it is still low, it gets more contaminated. Now, this is the major problem. And this has a lot to do with the leadership.
But we have a Ministry of Agriculture. Millions of dollars are poured in agriculture extension services. So how can we be having this kind of situation? If
I became a president of this country for 2 hours, the first ministry I would abolish would be Ministry of Agriculture. I would first of all overhaul everybody, from the minister to the sweeper. I would overhaul everybody.
But you don't need to abolish. We need the Ministry of Agriculture.
I need to overhaul.
Maybe you would cane them.
I would overhaul, I would cane, I would poison, I would do everything. Because they are doing us a very big disfavor. They are doing this. 80% of our population is agriculture based. We have no single demonstration in any district where you can take farmers and say this is a model created by a government. We used to have what are called didactics, district agricultural technical training centers. We have one in Ruwengo, it's called Kamenya Migu. We have Muzadi in Mukono. I happen to sit on their board. I'm an advisor on the narrow board. You know, we've been telling people, Narrow is doing a very wonderful work in terms of research, but it is not marketed, it is not known to the people. The Minister of Agriculture should have much more money than any ministry in this government, because it's the backbone that we're saying. But look at what we get. We get 3% of Uganda's budget. Are we okay? No, we are not. So we have a problem, and the problem is in leadership, from the grassroots in terms of local governments up to the top. We need to do things differently if we must change.
During this May's standoff with Kenya, some people are saying that leave the aflatoxin story aside. This is politics. Kenya is doing protectionism. It's going against the East African community. It's going against the Trade Pact. Is there politics in this place, or it's actually aflatoxin?
Why would you even think of politics in Kenya when you are failing your local politics here? It is aflatoxin. The Kenyans are beyond us. They don't want our rubbish taken there. Simple. Why are you? You know, everybody who has failed blames everything on politics. Look at these ministers of ours who have all lost. They are saying, because of ABC. You have not performed, period. If you have not performed, you know, first of all, people should detest from politics. My ambition is development. Let us focus on development. It is true. When I started the battle of coffee, when I worked with the UCDA, not as the employee, but as a volunteer, and we said there is no more drying of coffee on the ground. I got my chiboko. UCDA came in. Agricultural police does nothing. Don't even ask me about that. We went down with UCDA.
They get money from consolidated.
Exactly, they get money, but what are they doing? They are not like what we call agricultural extension workers. These are people at the sub-county. They earn a salary, but they do nothing. There is no single agricultural extension worker who has been to my farm. And if they have not been to my farm as a chairman, where do they go? You get the point. So it's a big challenge. We said no more drying coffee on the ground, because once coffee leaves my garden, once coffee leaves my factory, and it goes to Mombasa as an export, it stops being Mutabazi's coffee. It becomes Ugandan coffee. So we need to be more nationalistic and patriotic. And you know, in the Greater Masaka region, you can't find coffee being dried down, not on a taproom. And this is what we need to. The Minister of Agriculture needs to get money, buy taprooms, give them to the farmers on a run basis. Because if you have
for drying
the coffee and the maize, and then when somebody sells their coffee, they pay back. It should be mandatory.
So you are the people who are behind the coffee bill. Some people fear that the moment it's passed into law, you'll have to be licensed to be a coffee grower. Therefore, some mafias will take over even coffee growing and leave the poor to be even poorer, who have been in coffee.
The coffee bill is very, very, very important and very good. The only challenge is that there are no people who have come out to talk about the coffee bill. The intentions of the coffee bill is to know how many acres of coffee does Fred have, how many trees of coffee do you have, how does government come in to help you in terms of fertilizers, in terms of irrigation. In Brazil, the coffee bill is there, which is the best coffee grower. The farmers are empowered. It is intended to benefit the coffee growers, not government. And the government will actually tax more after knowing who has how much coffee. But now, who has much coffee? How many acres do you have? Who does government know that? What do you need? What do you require as a farmer to have A, B, C, D? How do I help you? We need more fertilizers now. We need more irrigation equipment than actually the coffee. Because government has given out so much coffee that is not actually productive. We are doing it a spacing of 10 to 10 distance. But now we are doing 3 meter distance because land is getting scarce. And we can do, actually, we are replanting. We are planting more coffee into the 10-meter diameter that we had. So people need to understand, Uganda's major cash crop is coffee. If we don't have a database on what we have as coffee, then we are not serious. And we should not even request people to implement the coffee bill. We should say that it is here.
Mr. Mutabazi, you have been a leader, okay? You are part of the government structure. But you are talking like you are somebody who is against all government programs. You are against the people's aspiration to try and make things better. Don't you see any hope in trying to improve our situation? This is a program that is helping to put in place measures to sensitize one about the dangers of counterfeits, but also to put measures to improve. Don't you see any hope in any of these sectors?
There is a lot of hope, and Uganda has so much
the hope
to offer. From? The hope must come from leaders. The local leaders, the so-called ministers, the so-called MPs must change the way. The people who vote us must start thinking on the type of people they vote. And this is, my major strength is on 4 things. One, I've been training people on mindset change. Mindset. Do you know why bees are the best insects, or whatever you call them? They go and pick, you know, a lot of stuff from different, you know, from flowers, from that, and they make the best honey. When they move in a swarm, they have their queen. They move, they're so organized. The ants have the best road network in an anthill. The ants have the best food store than human being. So it's the mindset that will change.
So you are saying Uganda ants and bees are better than Ugandans?
Very much so. If you caught a cat and put it here, and put a human being here, and put a glass of milk and put a glass of waraji, a cat will drink milk and a man will drink waraji. Who is better than the other? And that man must be Ugandan. So we need to be specific and make sure we know the people. Number 2, we train people on resource potential. When President Museveni talks about the 4-acre model, you don't need more than 4 acres in life to survive. Just 4 acres. If you are a human being and you are aged 30 years and you don't have a bicycle, you don't deserve to live. You need to die. You are not worth living.
A bicycle is the measure of life.
If you don't have a bicycle, you have 4 acres of land. Why are you living? You are a liability to society.
Ruwengo is in the cattle corridor.
Yes.
You need so much land to have cattle.
No.
And even you say you're a man for development, you know, but you still bring cows from Ruwengo with the horns, with the hoofs.
This is the mindset.
Why don't you put processing?
This is the mindset of the leadership down there. I have been there alone. I have failed to get people to support me. The councillors are P0, like I've told you. The local leaders, the LC3 chairpersons are drunkards. I have got an LC3 chairperson who drinks from morning to evening. But people have been voting him because he's NRM all the time. So you need to know where we come from. What is the problem? If you look at Uganda's population, just have this analysis. In 1962, we had 9.6 million people. 58 years down the road, we are now in 2021.
Yes.
We are roughly 46 million people. By 2050, we are going to be more than 80 million people. Is Uganda expanding? So you need to think, and people are still building horizontally instead of building vertically. So do we have leaders who think like, am I talking sense to you?
Somebody might argue that we have 45% of the arable land in East Africa.
Yes.
Despite being one of the smaller countries.
Yes.
So we still have, and you go to somebody's farm and he will show you a farm, but it's just bush. So maybe it's because we have still sufficient land.
No. In 1993, there was a land restructuring program where people who owned ranches, where the land was divided and half of the land was given to squatters, especially in Zimbabwe, Mubende, Gomba, Nakasongola, all that cattle corridor. Today, we have to do the same. If you have land which is more than 1 square mile, it is going to be divided whether you like it or not. Let me give you an example. Fidel Castro ruled Cuba for the last 50 years. Against all odds, the Americans were fighting him.
Sanctions and everything.
Everything. But Fidel, till now, nobody knows where he was buried, because when he got into power, his family had 30% of Cuba's land, and Fidel Castro offered that land to the public, to the government. The public took it. And actually it was then that those people who owned that land, who took that land, the Escobars, who did the marijuana and all that, they protected. If we must keep in power, we must give some of our land, whether we like it or not. Otherwise, the populace is going to come and take over our land.
Mr. Mutabazi, there is a lot of stories of land grabbing people have, square miles and square miles. Do people listen to what you're saying?
The land grabbing is another discussion, but the reality is, it is over-exaggerated. And the people who grab land, now during these last campaigns, the talk was the Banyankore have stolen land. I went to Chankwan's. I found that in Chankwan's, land basically was owned by, it was public land owned by Baganda. The Baganda sold the land to Banyankore. The Banyankore sold it to Banyarwanda. The Baganda are saying Banyankore batu betaka. Now the Banyankore are saying Banyarwanda batu betaka. You need to be logical. Don't say there is land grabbing. In Kampala here, where there is a highest number of land grabbing, if you went into who owns land here, you will be surprised. The first person who owns land here, the largest one, is Uganda. The second one is the Church of Uganda. The third one is the Catholic Church. The fourth one are individuals who are not even close to Banyankore. Number 10 is not even Banyankore. But you don't know, you are just making noise here.
Yeah, but the argument is that because of poverty, because a few people are in the lucrative sectors, so the others who have the land are forced to sell it. No. And that's how also the counterfeit is growing. Because counterfeit is blamed a lot on affordability, on poverty. Do you see a connection?
Yes, there is a lot of connectivity. Between counterfeits and poverty, but counterfeits have a lot to do with the corruption tendencies of civil servants, of the politicians who are in these offices. Where is the UNBS in all this? And nobody wants to come out and curse. Let me give you an example. In these local areas, there is a program that was brought in whereby some fertilizers were being given out to farmers in Karungu and some other areas, for example. Now, when these Chinese supply the fertilizers, they come back after a week and they buy the same sackets, the empties. And they buy them more money than the product itself. Where do they take them? They take them to make fake counterfeits. They repackage and resell. Where is the UNBS?
And this is known to the ministry?
It is known. It is known. We know it is.
Some people in the ministry are doing this business?
If they're not doing this business, they are part of it because they know. For example, look what, I happen to own cows. At the moment, we are using dudoxaxarextin to actually...
It's an acaricide.
Which is no, it's not an acaricide. It's a herbicide. We mix it with the acaricide for the treatment for the killing of ticks.
You are mixing a herbicide
with the acaricide.
For killing weeds?
Yes. With the acaricide to kill the ticks.
So how do you kill the ticks then?
It kills the ticks there and then immediately because we have failed to get the acaricide.
But doesn't it affect the animal?
So much that we are getting more cancer. I told you in 5 years' time we are going to have more cancer patients than malaria patients. Because the milk we drink, the meat we eat, it is fully affected. The porridge we drink, and to make matters worse, our children will drink this. So you can see, if you spray that concoction on a cow, immediately you see the cow feeling it. But why are we...
And then you milk the cow.
Immediately. You see...
Slaughter the cow.
So
are there vet officers at the districts who are supposed to be checking these things?
No, you see, when you talk about the things, people think probably you are anti-government. But if we don't tell you this, who will tell you this? I am a Ugandan and I have the mandate and the right to say this. put your house into order. Minister of Agriculture, put your house into order. Some of us are leaving politics.
We have the Agricultural Chemical Control Board in charge of all these chemicals. Exactly. Are you saying they are not doing their work?
They are not. They are not.
Should they also resign?
Can they? Have you ever had somebody resigning in Uganda? I resigned as a president of local government association, and it was and nobody even talked about it, because I saw there was a lot of fakeness into the administration of the association. I said I can't, and nobody talks about it, because here resigning is not in our vocabulary. It is not our culture. You want to keep in an office until you drop dead. We have no that culture of saying enough is enough. So it is very sad that we talk about the things and you can't make much difference. But I have done my part as an individual, and you're talking about the roles. I started the Rotary Club in Ruengo, for example. And you know, when you have a Rotary in the village, you know, the people say, "Mfunira wa, we are Rotary bichi." Nobody know, but we are saying, you know, like you may know, Rotary is service beyond, above self. And we are saying, people must understand this. People must know why we are volunteering. You know, I've just got into a meeting where with Maltesa. Maltesa International is an organization from Germany that is giving us an ambulance, where we are going to be having women delivering in an ambulance. Mobile hospital. You know, I went to Germany, I talked to these people and all that. So this is the problem that we have with your democracy. Leadership, people should not seek votes. We must push people to take them where they should be, not where they want to be.
Where they should be.
Yeah.
One of the things, before we conclude, which is one of the highlights of your tenure as chairman, LC5 Ruengo, you did an interview sometime and said you have improved the number of first grades from 200 to 400. And yet for us here at the Anti-Counterfeit Network, we know that education is one of those areas where we have a lot of fakes. Right from nursery up to university, you have more and more cases. For us, when we were going to school, if you gave your certificate from your name, it wouldn't be questioned. Now, even if you presented yourself, they would question, are you the one? You understand? Yeah. So, why is it that we have more first grades? You are there uploading first grades. And then we're having more counterfeits as well.
Yes. First of all, when I went into leadership, I wanted real change. So I formed circles, over 465 village saving groups. And within a period of 6 months, we had over 800 million shillings. People in the villages are not poor. They have the money, but they need to be guided on how to use the money. So within 6 months, I had 800 million. I came to Kampala, I looked for all the banks. I said, please, can we have a branch? All the banks refused. These bankers are not smart. You know, it will be another discussion. I managed to convince Finance Trust, and they have a branch. The commercial bank that we have in Ruengo district.
Finance Trust is for women.
It is the most organized women financial institution. And as a result, I went to Germany and got solars. And those solars had 4 bulbs. It was mandatory that one bulb is outside for security, another one is behind for security reasons, and the other one is in the sitting room, and the 4th bulb is in the children's room for reading. And that pushed the grades from 200 to 800 plus as I talk now, because children were reading. Because we don't have pupils in boarding schools in most rural areas. But the grades shot from 200 to 800 plus in 4 years. And that, actually, how does it link to counterfeit? Because the more elite people you have, the more enlightened people, the more people are aware of what is happening. Awareness, creating awareness. And the parents, sensitizing of people, talking to people. Recently, I am organizing, I'm working with the MasterCard Foundation, and we are looking at youth who have finished senior 4. I'm looking for 500 youth in a district, and I failed to get. The best you can get is less than 200, and these people are saying it to ina minimum. Come on, Ugandans, wait, I don't belong here. I don't think I belong here. There is a bigger problem.
But who will clean it up for you? You are Ugandan, so we have to be here and clean it. But on education, a lot of people come with excellent qualifications, but they cannot put together a conversation in English. They cannot write. They do not have problem-solving skills. They do not have teamwork. They do not have perseverance. They have a wrong attitude. So these first grades you are pushing in Luengo are really not going to take Luengo out of the dish.
The government has a very big program to do with the skilling, and I think what we need more skilled people than educated people. And
what's the difference?
The difference is because the people who are skilled can do something practical than being educated. The education system by our colonial masters was intended for their own benefit, not our own benefit. So we need to skill more people, and you've heard that China has closed up more universities than technical centers. So this is what we need to do. We need to overhaul our education system and put much more skilling programs than the usual program. So I think what we need to do is to refocus. Lastly, what I want to say, if I were President Museveni, with this new government, he needs to overhaul, to identify people who are unique. There must be an overhaul in the government. The Magufuli way. Look, in 5 years' time, look what the man has done. We need an overhaul of civil servants. I am happy there are going to be a merger of these agencies. You know, we need an overhaul. If you are a minister, you should be felt.
Sometimes you are lobbying for a ministerial post.
I am beyond being a minister. Fred, I'm being beyond. I'm beyond. You know, somebody recently said, you want to be an RDC? I said, don't be crazy. I'm beyond being an RDC. It's the government that needs me. I don't need government. I am much better in fighting counterfeits than being a minister. We work with
Have you given these ideas to President Museveni? Have you had a chance?
Yes.
If you met him today,
yes,
what would you tell President Museveni?
I would tell him to sack all his ministers.
Oh.
Yes.
Then how would he work?
No, he gets more equitable and serious people. What are you talking about? We have more people who can do better. Service delivery is key. Let me tell you, if you went on Guru Road, out of 10 vehicles, 8 are going to General Sare, and from the ministry, because General Sare is trying to make, you know, he's trying to put things right. Meeting technical people, meeting politicians, because things have gone wrong. And he's trying his best. I wish him success. But we need an overhaul.
Mr. Mutabazi, anybody listening to you, a consumer, a Ugandan, an African out there, what do you tell them about counterfeits? Is it something they should, how should it be viewed? Because we are here every weekend trying to make sure that we send the message. What's your special message? First
of all, we've been working on training what we call village agents. The village agent, it's a program which was partly sponsored by USAID as program Feed the Future, and they've been working so closely with the farmers. A village agent is somebody who is down there in your village, who is a very active person. In some districts we've trained and others we haven't, but that village agent is connected to an input dealer, a green input dealer, the one who sells, you know, fertilizers, who sells the herbicides and everything. That village agent has connection to an agri input dealer, and he knows where the fertilizer has been bought, where the herbicide has been bought, and that agent gives you that herbicide, and we know the shops that are dealing in counterfeits. We know them. We know in Masaka. In Masaka, somebody goes to Nairobi, brings one container of fertilizers, UNPK, and comes in there and mixes it with fake things and gets 2 containers. And the people are buying. And we know the policy is there. But what has happened? And you know, you try, you attack. This is why I told you, you end up getting more enemies every day because you are attacking the mafias who are doing this. And we know some of the things, but you end up.
The good thing, Mutabazi, is that you are here, you have spoken loud and clear. The most important thing we think is the more awareness about a problem, the more you talk about it, the more you share about it, the easier it is for people to understand and probably create the necessary change. You are talking of village agents who would like to conclude. The people in the city, in the towns, people who buy from the supermarkets, what should they do about counterfeits? Any ideas?
First of all, me and you need to create more awareness. People must know that we are going to experience more death, more dangers by eating what we are eating, by inhaling in these gases, by killing the environment. As long as we still see people cooking using charcoal, when we have discovered our oil and gas and we cannot reduce gas, it's a bag of charcoal is 80,000 in Kampala.
To 100, yes.
To 100. And a canister of gas, LPG, is 30,000.
It goes for a month or two.
It is about two things. One is leadership, two is awareness. So we have a lot more to do in terms of creating awareness. And how I wish we could have such programs on more often. We need to request the funders. We need to request people who have been giving government money to stop giving money to government and give it to private organizations to continue doing this kind of awareness. Because government is failing. We need to come out and talk to people and enforce. What is killing local governments is lack of enforcement of the laws that are existing. The existing laws are not enforced. And who enforces this? The elected leaders. Who are the elected leaders? Kwara kwara. Elected by who? Cheap and stupid people. You can't have an effect.
That is George William Mutabazi, outgoing LC5 chairman for Lwengo, the man of the cane. He didn't come with a cane here, but he had a very important message for us. He says the reason we're having an increase in counterfeits is because of leadership, but that should not make you relax. Don't look out for somebody to help to lead you in this fight. You must be a leader for yourself, because as a consumer, you are responsible for your own safety. The other things that the government can do for you are just secondary. You must have leadership right from home. As a head of the family, show leadership in fighting counterfeit by making sure you check the expiry date, what is the place you're buying, are you sure about the packaging, even the brand name is very important. Be suspicious on price and all these issues. So that has been our guest of the month, Mr. Mutabazi, LC5 chairman. Lwengo, we thank you so much for having made the time to come from, I think you've come the farthest from to the show here. Most people come from nearby, 200, 300 kilometers to come here, but he felt this was extremely important. He has a lot. I'm sure we shall host you again in other fora, especially since you're doing activism in Counterfeit. So until our next episode, I would like to wish you a nice weekend, and please remember to watch us every Friday on the Anti-Counterfeit channel on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to like us, be sure to share, and until then, bye.